you've ever felt that losing weight during the winter is far more difficult, you are not alone. There are actually over a half a dozen solid studies that I'm going to share with you here today, and also how to overcome them, proving that your body's ability to shed weight and fat is more difficult during the winter. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be done, but if you've been struggling with it, I'm going to share with you exactly why, and then what we can do in order to be able to short circuit that cycle. Let's dive right in now. The first one is this. And again, I'm going to link up all 7 studies with you at stephencabral.com/3638. That's where all the show notes will be, as well as the big takeaways. The first one is this, is that humans have evolved to actually conserve calories, especially during the winter. Think about it. If I lived in Boston, Massachusetts, nothing is growing. Literally, the ground is frozen. You would have been eating the food you were able to smoke or ferment, or you'd be able to store in some way. That's the food you were eating. And I'm going to share about the difference in daylight and temperature and all that, and how it affects our physiology. Because here's the big thing. We've lost our connection with nature. That's the truth. Literally, Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, Native American-based medicine, every form of medicine I've ever studied, Sri Lankan, like you name it, has always evolved around a yin and yang, a hot and a cold, literally like just the anatomy, and I would say the diurnal nature to who we are as humans. And once you start to understand that, though, then you can crack the code. So when we know that our bodies were designed to hold on to more weight during the winter, we can, 1, give ourselves a little bit more of a pass. Number 2, understand this is what we're dealing with. And number 3 is, if we still want to take the weight off, especially the unhealthy weight, like there's a difference between being like 5 pounds over your ideal weight and being 35 pounds over your ideal weight, right? 35 pounds over your ideal weight leads to inflammatory-based health issues and hormonal imbalance, like no doubt about it, and it will shorten your life, right? 5 pounds over your ideal weight, it's not harming you in any way, shape, or form, like at all. It's just affecting the way that you look. And you might decide, like, you want to lose that 5 pounds. Totally fine. I support my clients with that as well. Personal choice. You get to decide with and how your body looks. Like, that's just the way that it is. But again, I also want to share with you the real biology-based reasoning behind weight loss. And it's not always just how we look. It's for health reasons. And I assure you, if you are a BMI above, especially at 27, 28, definitely at 29, it's affecting your health and your aging. And so again, like, I deeply care about all my clients, and I want to help them live a long, healthy life. Like, that's obviously the goal, right? And it's not everyone's goal, so I get that. But anybody who has that goal, we need to lose the unhealthy weight and just get to a healthy weight. All right. The second one is this. I want to give you 7. Insulin. So we're going to get into the real nuts and bolts of this. Insulin sensitivity is lower in the winter. All right. Here's one of the reasons why it's just more challenging to lose weight. What does insulin sensitivity mean? It basically means this. You eat a meal and your blood sugar increases, right? So postprandial glucose level, it's called. So postprandial is just after you eat. It's just a fancy science name for that, but it's just after you eat. Okay, so after you eat, your blood sugar goes up. Now, it can stay up longer and go higher in the winter because individuals, not everyone, but individuals, a lot of them are less insulin sensitive. What's insulin? Insulin, when blood sugar rises, right? So sugar rises in your blood. Insulin helps to pull the sugar back into the liver, the muscles, or store it as needed, right? So that's insulin's job, but it's less sensitive to the calls and cries of elevated blood sugar during the winter months. And again, this is called the study. I'm going to link up all the studies. So I'm not going to read them all to you because I don't want to bore you to tears. I enjoy this. Not everybody does, but I'm sure there's some people out there. So this one's called Seasonal Variations of Insulin Sensitivity. And so again, I'm going to link all of these up, and it shares with people, like in this one, what would be helpful. And I'm going to give you all my helpful tips at the end as well, just a couple like main effective ones. Using let's say a seasonal affective disorder-based light or lamp can be really helpful in the morning. It can be really helpful pretty much the first half of the day. So that's one thing that you can do to help short circuit the dark mornings, right? And the shorter days of daylight. Just a simple lamp, 10,000 lux. Okay, you're looking at that, getting some type of, this is when blue light actually is helpful, right? Okay, the next one is this, it's metabolic syndrome and seasonal based patterns. So what is metabolic syndrome? Again, like I don't want to get too deep in this, but essentially people tend to gain more weight around the middle. It unfortunately harms their cholesterol levels, unhealthy levels, their oxidized cholesterol. It can harm their blood sugar levels. It can harm their blood pressure as well. And they may see a worsening of metabolic syndrome and increased triglycerides, et cetera, maybe even fatty liver during the winter-based months. And why this is important is that, and this just ties to the next one, so I'm going to jump here, is that glucose and glycemic control is not as strong. So this, what does this literally look like? It's not your body messing up. A lot of people think, oh, it's the body's messing up. No. What's actually happening is that it's slowing your metabolism. It's making it easier for you to gain weight because of a biological survival-based reason. If your body needs to consume less calories and it stores more as fat from what you eat, the likelihood that you would survive until late spring goes up. That's it. That's literally it. It makes it so much easier for the body to essentially go into hibernation, burn a few less 100 calories or so per day, and instead store that as weight. You don't burn as many calories, and you store more calories as body fat. So now you understand, and we're not talking about 500 calories, we're talking about maybe 100, 200 calories, whatever it might be. Again, it's different for the individual. That's why I can't give you a set amount. Endomorphs are going to have a more challenging time. The Kapha body type. Again, this has been written for 6,000 years. Vata body type, less. But are they going to then experience more of the potentially anxiety and cold and poor circulation and fragmented sleep? The Vata type, ectomorph type during the winter? Yes. Right? So it's like different body types when you understand the actual physiology of the body, not just from a Western perspective, but also from the tried and true Eastern perspective as well, then it all makes sense. So when a client comes into our practice or they read Personomics, they start to understand, oh, yeah, I'm not necessarily like my friend who gains weight more easily and I lose it more easily. Or they have difficulty sleeping. I don't have difficulty sleeping. Here's why. Different neurotransmitter production, different. And so you start to look at it and you understand, oh, yes, my body has a foundational level of health like we all do and follows the same rules. However, I'm a little bit more imbalanced in these areas, part of my genotype, right? So like, again, once we can begin to really respect our body, we can start to then say, oh, if I want to move the levers, here's what I need to do during the wintertime, and I'll give you those tips in just a moment. All right, so the next one is this circadian rhythm. Look at it this way. During the summertime, sun's going to rise at what, 5 a.m.? It's going to rise early, right? When's it going to set? 9 o'clock at night, right? During like the peak summer, that's a whole lot of daylight. What are we going to do during that daylight? We're going to be most likely energized, in a better mood. Most likely, we're going to be moving our body more. Now, I can already hear it. Oh, I have more trouble losing weight in the summertime. Yeah, sometimes because you're enjoying more barbecues and cocktails and those types of things. And again, just a small aside, keep in mind, one cheat meal, like at a barbecue, having some drinks, can literally be 3,000 calories. Like it's not difficult to eat 3,000 calories. And that can be all the difference between a pound of weight loss or not losing any weight, right? Or not losing any weight and like maintaining weight and a pound of weight gain. So just keep in mind, there are other reasons for the summer, but usually that's excess calorie consumption, oftentimes through liquids, rather than just, it being a seasonal based issue here. We're actually talking about a pathophysiological issue in the winter as to why the body stores more energy. And energy is fat. Truthfully, like that's the truth, right? You get 9 calories per gram of fat. You get only 4 energy units for carbohydrate and protein. So just kind of look at that as like your body's storing energy. Like that's what it's doing, literally. All right. The next one is this, is appetite hormones and season. Again, circadian changes in stress and feeding hormones. This is an entire study done on this. This has been known for quite some time, is that when we move into the wintertime, we often get greater hunger-based signals. We want to eat more what? Comfort foods. Those comfort foods are usually salty, sweet, things that are oftentimes mixed with salt and fat. Well, and the carbs in there. So it's like one of the easiest ways to gain body fat is to have a high fat and high carb meal, especially when it's fried, right? So what's the easiest way? Literally looking at, well, it's like, I always go back to this because I'm Italian as well. It's like arancini, right? What is that? It's a fried ball of rice. That's literally, it's breaded and fried. Usually it sits in tomato sauce. I mean, it's absolutely delicious. I'm not gonna say that it's not, but that's one of the sumo wrestler meals too, is literally like fried ball of rice, arancini essentially, one of the easiest ways to gain weight. It's fat and simple carbs, essentially the white rice, like just mixed together. So anyway, you shouldn't do that. I'm not saying you are doing that, but oftentimes that's what our bodies are signaling to us. It's like, oh, no, that food sounds a lot more appetizing right now. Why? It wants to store calories. That's really it. It's not trying to harm you. It's trying to actually protect you. We just don't need the protection anymore now that we live in homes that are temperature regulated, of course. Okay. So what do I want to share with you out of this is there's a few things that we can do. The first one is this, is we can't trick our bodies completely, and I'm not sure that we even want to. However, it is beneficial to get light, especially upon waking. So one of the things that you can use is just at stevencabral.com/resources. There's not one particular brand that I recommend, but all my favorites, there's probably like 100 items there that I use and I recommend in my practice. It's just a seasonal affective disorder light. You can even search it on Amazon if you want to. Look for good reviews. It should just sit on your bathroom sink. As you're brushing your teeth, you're getting ready in the morning, just put on that lamp. Or if you're making kids lunch for the day or breakfast, whatever it might be, just put it right there. Should be close. You do really want it within a foot or so, but that can be highly effective as then signaling to your body, oh, there's light now. We're going to produce normal levels of cortisol. We're going to produce the right amount of neurotransmitters. Like all of that, believe it or not, can be helpful. The second is that you want to make sure you're still getting in your steps. And here's why. Think about it. During the wintertime, you're most likely less active. You're most likely outside less, you're moving less. So you can walk around your house, you can invest in a treadmill, you could even use an upright exercise bike, you can use whatever you want, but you still want to get that movement in. And that's about 7,500 to 10,000 steps per day. And you can use any tracker you want in order to look at that. The second is this, understanding that since you're more prone to overeating or storing more during the winter, you're just going to want to dial in those foods that you eat. Not necessarily completely eliminate all of your favorite foods, but you want to think about your flex meals more appropriately. And so during the winter time, if you find yourself reaching for a couple cookies every afternoon or a little something after dinner or a little comfort food here and there, understand that if you're not doing that all year round, it doesn't take a lot. 300 calories or so per day, every day for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, or if you're in New England, 6 months of winter, right? And over time, that 300 calories per week times 3 months, 6 months, it adds up and it leads to 5 pounds, 7 pounds of weight gain. And that's the truth. So when we just take an honest look at it and say, like, oh, no, we can still have our cheats. We can still have our flex meals. We can still do that. But we do want it to be regulated. Once or twice a week for our clients seems to work really well, just not on a daily basis. Because what? You're raising those blood sugar levels. You already know you're not going to be as insulin sensitive. And then if you get the walking in still, great. That'll help bring down those blood sugar levels really effective. So I'm not giving you any crazy workouts to do, nothing excessive. Do that. Get that bright light in the morning. It's going to help with your overall mood. Seasonal affective disorder for depression, those types of things, believe it or not, can really help. Exercise can help. Getting the body moving in the morning, all of those things can be extremely helpful. Hopefully today's show was helpful, and if it was, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral Concept. And for all of today's show notes and studies, head on over to stevencabral.com/3638. Take care.